Close ChatGPT, ignore your clients and your DMs. Yes, even the attractive woman your boys know you're simping for. She's not flirting with you, bro. She's just being nice. Because I'm about to show you everything that I do to generate my coaching or service business clients $30,000 a month to $50,000 a month in profit by using personal brand funnels. You don't need complex setups, dozens of ad campaigns with expensive budgets, none of that. All you need is this right here, which is the personal brand funnel. I've used this to generate millions of dollars for my clients, getting them over 200 million organic views for their videos. And I'm going to reference 3 specific clients here throughout the video to show you that what their bottlenecks were and how you can avoid them on your way to making $30,000 a month to $50,000 a month in profit. Not a bad typical YouTube, like YouTube guru intro, right? Now, let's be honest here. You're watching this video because you are not a huge personal brand with hundreds of thousands of followers, which means you don't need complexity. For my clients with hundreds of thousands of followers, it is a more complex setup, but you don't need that if you're at a stage where you're trying to profit $30,000 a month to $50,000 a month. All it takes is you and maybe 1 or 2 VAs, depending on how much work you're willing to do yourself. And you just need to get the basics correct, which is using age-old human psychology principles and modern content consumption patterns to build trust at scale, which means more people will want to work with you and pay you thousands of dollars for your high ticket offer. So, like I said, throughout the video, I'm going to refer to 3 of my clients who are each at a different profit stage and have different bottlenecks, stopping them from scaling further. So hopefully you can understand what to do if you're dealing with the same bottleneck. Client number 1 here is currently at $25,000 profit with high ticket coaching. Now their bottleneck right now is content and branding, which I'll go into more detail later in this video. I also have client number 2 here who is at $40,000 a month profit with high ticket coaching. Now their bottleneck is authority positioning and lead nurturing. Again, I'll talk about this more in the authority and lead nurturing section of the video. And right here we have client number 3 who is currently making more than $100,000 per month in profit with a mix of high ticket and low ticket offers. Now this is the ideal operation, all right? And the reason that I say more than $100,000 in profit is because they have other revenue streams that also have grown as a result of the personal brand funnel being so successful, but they are a slightly larger operation compared to clients number 1 and number 2. So I don't have the exact revenue numbers for those income streams. However, I do know they are constantly hiring more people and expanding. So it's just the perfect example of what you can accomplish with a personal brand if you execute on the 6-step framework that I'm going to show you in this video. And we're going to talk about that after I show you kind of like the whole thing, right? We got 6 steps right here. And this is the whole funnel kind of in action, okay? Now, it's important to note that all of these clients are true experts and very, very passionate about their work. They usually come to me because they know that they can help more people, but they just don't know how to properly execute this strategy. Now, this hits home because my dad's an expert chef. He has the typical American dream story where he came to the country with little money, worked 14-hour days in a restaurant his whole entire life, but despite having an insane work ethic and putting effort into creating delicious food, which, my opinion might be biased, but his business partners, the salesmen that he trusted, the marketers that he trusted, they always found a way to screw him over. And at one point, my family was actually $300,000 in debt due to trusting these so-called experts, right? So I'm hoping that my videos like this one will reach the real experts out there and give real marketing strategies to help them grow their business using social media. Now, before I go into the 6-step framework, let's get clear with some definitions. First of all, a personal brand. A personal brand is simply an online identity that you build around your values, your messages, and your expertise. And it's about creating a presence online that makes people go like, okay, I can trust this person to help me. There's no doubt that they are an expert in their field. Now let's also talk about funnels, because a marketing funnel is just a way of taking someone from I don't know who you are to I trust you enough to pay you. That's it. Now, in this case, we're using organic content and some basic ads, very basic ads. Some would say the most basic, all right. And that's going to be like the engine of this, right? And we break that content into 3 funnel stages. We have top of funnel, people who have never seen you before. Then we have middle of funnel, which are people who follow you but do not fully trust you yet. And then we have bottom of funnel, which is going to be people who trust you and just need the right offer or proof to kind of buy your stuff. So we're just giving them like one little nudge, and then they're going to be like, okay, cool, let's do this. Take my money. So when we combine these 2 things, we have the personal brand funnel, which is right here. And it's about creating content and a system around the content that moves people through each stage of the funnel automatically, not with high pressure sales, not with cold DMs, not with manipulative tactics, but with real brand building that makes the right people come to you. And here is an overview of what the personal brand funnel looks like. So let me go through this whole entire flow chart for you here. When I zoom in here, you're going to see that your ideal avatar is just scrolling through social media, right? They're just doing their thing, da 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 da. And whether it's the organic algorithm or low budget paid ads, somehow they will find out about you, okay? Now, the organic algorithm is going to be Instagram short form content that you're creating. It could be on TikTok as well, but mainly for this one, Instagram and YouTube are really the most powerful platforms. Now, we also have paid ads right here, top of funnel Instagram ads. Like I said, these are just low budget paid ads. And regardless, this is how they're first going to kind of discover you, right? And as we go down a little bit more, we're going to see that when they discover you, they will find your optimized Instagram profile. And through the optimized Instagram profile, they will be nurtured. They'll be nurtured through IG story sequences that you currently have, IG highlights that you currently have, and your YouTube channel. Like, let's say they just found you through, either ads right here, Instagram ads, or the short form content. Then we want to share your YouTube channel because long form nurturing is way better than short form nurturing, right? Now this is just audience nurturing, which is trust at scale. Okay. So we continue here. So they check you out and they're like, oh, okay, wait a second. This guy is a real expert. He can actually solve the problems that I'm having issues with, right? So go down here. And then what happens is they either become a follower or maybe they DM you for your lead magnet after seeing, hey, DM me for X, Y, and Z, which I'll show you some examples later in this video. Now, regardless if they DM you or not, if they become a follower, now obviously another option is they just ignore you and they move away, but that's another story. We can do retargeting ads to hopefully try and get them back. Now, another thing though, let's just say after this, they do one of these actions, which is most likely going to happen. If they just become a follower and they don't DM you, well, you can DM them first, right? So you DM them first and then you want to qualify them. Are they actually your ideal avatar? Now, if they are not your ideal avatar, then they'll continue enjoying your free content. And in some certain scenarios, you can actually just remove them as a follower because you don't want too many junk followers if someone accidentally followed you. Now, if they are a qualified ideal avatar, right? Then they go down here. And then the IGDM nurturing process begins, right? So we got two different ways of nurturing. We have the passive nurturing, which is going to be they're checking out your new IG stories. Obviously, we want to share client success here or student success, new content that you're posting, also sharing client success, student success, email sequences. If they ask for your lead magnet and you're like, hey, give me your email and I'll shoot it over to you, right? And then now they're enrolled into your email sequences. Then we have active nurturing. So this is going to be you talking to them and speaking to them in the DMs, and then you're sending them YouTube videos related to their pain points. So maybe they're like, hey dude, I just don't even know how to structure an offer. And then you can send them a YouTube video that's well, dude, I made a video exactly for this. Check this out. And then you can follow up with them in a few days and be like, yo, did you check it out? What did you think, right? In your YouTube videos, you should be sharing client success stories as well. Free resources or lead magnets also should share some client success stories, and also just be helpful, build trust, and share some more client success stories, right? You want to do this in a sort of elegant way though, mentioning you're not going to be like, hey, are you sure you don't want to work together? Yo, you should sign on with me. This person just made this much money working with me or got this result, the dream result, right? It's more like saying, hey, okay, someone's like, dude, I hate chicken. And be like, oh, dude, that's fine, man. My client who just lost 15 pounds in 7 weeks actually hated chicken as well. And instead what we did was a fish and beef diet. I don't know, something like that, right? If you're a fitness trainer. And then you can send them the video if you have an interview with them, right? If you have a long form YouTube video that's an interview with them, or even a short form video that's a testimonial. Now, eventually these guys will ask about your program, okay? Or they're going to see maybe a story sequence of you being like, hey, I'm taking, X amount of people this month for my program or for my service. So, hit me up and then we can get started, right? So then eventually one way or another, they will ask about your program and then you close the deal either in the sales calls or in the DMs. And that is essentially the basis, the overview of the personal brand funnel in action. So let's go over the personal brand funnel 6 steps. We're going to start with step 1, which is positioning yourself like an expert. Like I mentioned earlier, client number 2 is actually having trouble with this, which is crazy to think about because this client has the most insane case studies, but their previous marketing agency that they're working with just did not know how to show this through his content. So right now, we're actually working together on shifting his content from being seen as just an entertainer and a motivator to a true expert who has changed lives with the services that that he provides. And I'll talk about the specific content strategy changes when we get to that section of this video. Now, I get on sales calls all the time, right? And when I'm auditing their social media pages, a lot of people think that they have positioned themselves just because their IG bio says something like helping people find their purpose or guiding entrepreneurs towards success. But that is not positioning. That is more like poetry. Now, there's nothing wrong with poetry, but if someone can't tell who you're making content for, what problems that you solve, and why they should trust you, then they are not going to convert. So here's a simple filter that I like to use when it comes to doing this. So filter I run them through is who exactly do you serve? What specific result do you help them achieve? How do you help them get there? What is your method and what is your system? And what proof shows that this has worked before, right? And then when you think about this, you can put this all together into a mission statement. In this example, it's like, let's just use this, right? So I help ex-athletes monetize their story through speaking. Now, if we break this sentence down, we can see like I help ex-athletes is who you are serving, right? Right here, what is the specific result you help them achieve? Well, you are helping them monetize their story. Over here, how do you help them get there? What is the method in the system? Well, it is through speaking. And the next thing is what proof shows that this has worked before? Well, you can do this in the IG highlights section, right? You just have a highlight that says client success, and then you just fill that up, and also your stories too. And like I said, in this right here in action, right, there's like everything, pretty much everything should show client success at like every possible stage. And you're not just like, throw it in their face though. You got to be a little bit elegant with it, got to be creative with it, more casual with it, right? Now, when it comes to actually pitching the offer, we can build it off the mission statement, which is part 2 of the 6-step personal brand funnel framework. So step 2 is building a high ticket offer that solves a real problem. Your offer is not your coaching calls. What it is the transformation that you help your clients achieve. So if you're pitching your service like, hey, here's what happens when you join the program, you get 6 Zoom calls, 12 PDFs. Well, that's why you're struggling to sell it, right? We want to build the offer around the specific outcomes, the clear timelines, your strategic pricing, how simple the delivery is, and making sure that people know that, oh, I can actually achieve this, right? So it's an outcome-driven service that you provide. Now, one filter that is extremely helpful to figure out just how powerful your offer is Alex Hormozi's value equation. Now, the value equation is made of 4 components. What we have here is the dream outcome, the perceived likelihood achievement, perceived time delay, and then effort and sacrifice. So let's go back to that example that I shared with you earlier, which is going to be helping ex-athletes monetize their story through speaking. Now, essentially what we're doing is taking your mission statement and turning it into an actual offer. And what that might look like is I help ex-athletes land their first 5-figure keynote in 90 days with a done-with-you system used by NFL players and Olympians without ever needing to play at the pro level. It is a bit wordy, but let's break it down using the value equation. So when we break it down, we have right here, the dream outcome is helping ex-athletes land their first 5-figure keynote, right? Perceived time delay, 90 days. Now, if you're going to say something like 90 days, you better actually get them results in 90 days, right? Don't just make this stuff up. Now, one thing is like if this is like an ambitious thing and like not everyone can succeed with this, maybe once you're on the sales call with them, you can explain like, hey, for you specifically, it may take longer than 90 days because you don't have these, characteristics that these other guys who did it in 90 days have. However, you can still get it done. It's not impossible for you. You can still get it done in, insert realistic time here. So that's one thing that you can do, right? Because not everyone's going to be able to do it in 90 days for any program, right? Even like weight loss programs, and they're like 12-week or like 4-month weight transformation, right? But then you go in there and you're like, I don't know, 1,200 pounds, and you have like the most serious like addictions and everything, right? And your whole life is a mess. And the fitness trainer is probably gonna be like, dude, this might take a little bit longer than 4 months, but bear with me here. We can still make this work. We just have a lot more to fix, but we can still fix it, and obviously only if you can actually fix that. Next thing we have is effort and sacrifice. It is a done with you system. So it's like, dude, we're not just going to throw you some course and you're on your own, right? We're going to work with you throughout this process. And lastly, we have the perceived likelihood of achievement. So this is used by NFL players and Olympians without ever needing to play at the pro level. So this is, a lot of athletes, right? Not all of them have played at the pro level. So it's important to kind of mention this because that way it's not a common objection. People are going to actually be like, okay, sweet. So I don't need to be the top of the top of the top athletes to actually have this work for me. Like, this is the perceived likelihood of achievement. Now, how do you actually find which objections to directly address in your offer statement? Well, you just talk to people in your community, message them, get on calls with them, ask your current clients. What you want to do is find what the absolute most common objection is and integrate that into your offer statement. But having good positioning and a solid offer is useless if no one actually contacts you. So that is what we talk about here in step 3 of the personal brand funnel framework. We need to ensure that you have a solid lead magnet. And that way, you're not just hard pitching everyone in your audience about working with you, but instead you're only pitching it to the people who have actually shown that they need your help. And you're doing this mostly in private, which protects your brand integrity. Remember, you're positioning yourself as the man of the people. And if all of your posts have hard call to actions and telling your followers to buy your service or product, then they're just going to kind of see you more as a salesperson rather than someone who is genuinely caring about the community. Now, that would kind of be like if I said in this video, DM me on Instagram at Akash Conver for a complimentary audit showing you how to implement this system into your business, the same way I've done it for my clients that I've shown here. But I'm not going to do that though. Now, with the traditional lead magnet, it's going to bring people to a landing page typically, collect their email, and then only then will they receive the resource. This is great if you already have a large following, but if you're starting small, then I would actually recommend simply telling people to message you or DM you for the lead magnet. And depending on your niche, the lead magnet will be positioned differently. And also throughout the year, you can kind of switch up the lead magnet to see what performs best, right? But at the end of the day, it has to be something that is genuinely valuable to your audience. So here are a few examples of what a lead magnet could be. So lead magnet, some options, what we have here is a resource vault. Now, a resource vault, for example, are like scripts for cold outreach, hooks for short form content, videos, or it's going to be tools for finding the fastest selling dropshipping products if that's what you're doing. The next thing here is personalized audits. So, which is exactly what it sounds like. You're just offering someone a free strategy breakdown to achieve their goals. Now, this is not something that you want to just give to everybody, right? You want to make sure that you actually qualify the leads a little bit to make sure that they genuinely are interested in working with you and they have the financial means to pay for your services. Otherwise, you're going to be spending way too much time auditing people that are never have a chance to work with you, right? Then we have a checklist. So the checklist is simple. It is just a checklist, right, to ensure that they're doing everything that they should in order to achieve the dream outcome. Or let's say you're coaching in drop shipping or Amazon FBA, then this can be like a product qualification checklist as well. Next thing that we have here is an ebook. Now, an ebook is just a written guide. Everybody knows what this is, right? It's explaining the system that helps you achieve the desired result for your clients. And although this is very, very common, and like people have been using ebooks for years and years and years, right? It is still very, very effective if done properly. I created an ebook from one of my clients and we sold almost $15,000 worth of ebooks overnight. But more importantly, their sales calendar was packed with sales calls for the next month because people read the ebook and then we place call to action stating that, hey, if you want one-on-one help, then you should book this call and join the program because look at all these students that have, succeeded in the program. And this is basically a shortcut, all that good stuff right there. Next thing we have is a video course. So the video course is self-explanatory. You just make a quick video course or mini course and send that to anybody who is interested in working with you. If you want to take it to the next level, what you could do is offer some additional resources like guides and cheat sheets and be like, hey, this free course also comes with this and that, and maybe a free community as well, and maybe some live calls if you absolutely want to. Although it's probably not necessary to do all that kind of you don't want to give too much away for free in a lot of instances. It depends how you want to position yourself and kind of just depends on your personal opinion, I guess, what you want to do. Last thing that we have here is quizzes, okay? So quizzes have been extremely, extremely helpful for one of my clients. He actually had one with over 100 questions on a quiz and still had 30,000 people take it. Like the whole entire quiz. They finished it and we got their email, right? It is wild. Now, what we have done since is reduce the quiz, the length of the quiz, to get even more people to follow through. But not only is it great because we actually have the emails and an email list because of it, but because so many people in his target demographic have taken it, we have a ton of data. And all this data is going to help us write scripts for his content, write the ad copy, the landing page copy, and future emails, all of that, right? We're pretty much like the quiz was great because it also, gave them it also gave his audience a breakdown of hey, based on this quiz, here are your results and here are suggestions of what you should be doing, right? But yeah, it's just crazy to get all that data at once too. Now there are just so many ways you can get creative and create all sorts of lead magnets, but by far these are definitely some of the most popular ones. Okay, so now you have the foundation set up. Let's finally talk about step 4, which is launching content in low budget ads immediately. If no one knows that you exist, it doesn't matter how good you are with the foundations, you will always struggle to grow your business. Now, more exposure, equals more leads equals more business, right? Does that mean you have to post content every single day? Not necessarily. Obviously, the more content that you post, assuming it's actually engaging content, then the more your personal brand will grow. But if we're just posting organic content only, then we are relying on the organic algorithm to grow your brand. So this is where paid ads come in, right? Because this way we are actually forcing content to be shown to your target demographic through things just like top of funnel Instagram ads, or even just doing like boosted posts of some of your best performing posts, right? And the paid ad strategy here is surprisingly simple. You just want to spend at least $20 to $100 a day on ads, depending on the price of your offer and how aggressive you want to be. A good rule of thumb is when you're first launching your ads, expect to only get a 2x return on ad spend if everything else in your funnel is fully optimized, right? Like everything that we talked about here is fully optimized. And also the last steps too. Meaning if your service is priced at $10,000, then expect to spend around $5,000 before getting a client. Now, this is not the ideal scenario, right? You will have a much higher return on ad spend than this after testing different hooks, different ways to present your offer, and improving your organic content quality as well. But I'm not here to sell you some fantasy of overnight getting a 10x return on ad spend. I'm here to give you the cold hard facts, whether it sounds pretty or not, because this is just the truth of how it works. As for the specifics of the strategy, all we're really doing here is going to be boosting a few of your existing posts to your target audience. And in addition to this, we're going to be running some top of funnel profile visit ads that is separate from your other content. So the call to action in these videos are going to be a mix of visiting your profile for more videos about your niche and also DMing you for the lead magnet. Now, it's also important thing that these ads, they have to directly call out your target audience so that the ad algorithm can easily determine who to place the ad in front of, right? Because if you're calling out someone, they're more likely to engage with the ad and actually watch it for a little bit compared to someone who, is not related, right? If you're like, hey, you with the blue hat and the blue shirt, I'm going to be like, bro, that's me, right? Someone wearing a yellow hat and yellow shirt, it's going to be like, that's not me, swipe. Now, before you do this though, we have to keep in mind, we want to make sure that you have at least 9 pieces of optimized content on your Instagram page. And that way, when people actually see your ad and they click on your profile to learn more, you'll actually have some content that gives them a reason to follow you and ask for your lead magnet. You might have heard the saying like, all publicity is good publicity. But if you're in business, if you're a business owner, I disagree. Not just because it's my opinion, but also because after working with a bunch of personal brands of all sizes, I have seen time and time again situations where personal brands with smaller followings have made way more money than personal brands with a huge following, okay? In fact, client number 2 has 4 times the following in monthly view count compared to client number 3. Shit. As I was saying, client number 2 here has 4 times the following in monthly viewership compared to client number 3. However, client number 3 is actually making triple the amount of money compared to client number 2. And let me break down why that is so that you don't make the same mistakes and have the same bottlenecks that client number 2 was dealing with, okay? You have to understand certain viewers are worth more than others. Oh, wait, but aren't we all created equal? No. A young kid watching your video because it's funny is not the same as a 32-year-old man watching your videos to learn from the information that you provide in that video, even if they are the same age, right? Like a 28-year-old watching your videos because it motivates them and gets them feeling good about themselves and everything is not the same as a 28-year-old watching your videos because you are teaching them how to solve a pain point that they are dealing with. Now, this doesn't mean that we never want to make funny videos or motivational videos, but you have to make sure that all of your content clearly represents yourself as an expert in your field, and you can still leverage viral trending formats, right, or content formats that are leaning more on the funny side or the motivational side, but it's mandatory that viewers automatically can see that you have authority in your space in one way or another. Otherwise, if it's completely random and has nothing to do with your brand and your expertise, then you're just going to invite a bunch of junk followers and dilute your engagement, right? So let's circle back to the example of I help ex-athletes get speaking gigs. In this scenario, what you can do is you can still do like a goofy or motivational trending content format, but you need to talk about the pain points and desires that an ex-athlete has, or you need to be in the video with a widely recognized athlete next to you in the video doing the trend with you, right? Now this way people will find the video engaging because it follows the trending content format, and they'll think, who is this guy reading my mind right now? Or who is this guy standing next to this athlete who looks just like me? Like I'm an athlete too, and this guy's standing next to someone that looks like me. So maybe we're all in a tribe together, right? That's kind of like monkey brain, right? Now, real quick though, I want to talk about client number 1 in this section of the video because the issue that they're facing in their business is content strategy. I know I sound like a broken record, but you need to be a man of the people. Whenever I say this, I usually spread my arm out. It's like for the people, anyways. So being a man of the people and positioning yourself like that, it just makes it a way easier. It gives you a much easier time growing your business with social media. So the issue that client number one had, and the issue that they were facing, is that all of their content is salesy. They all have, every single piece of content has hard call to actions. There's no depth of storytelling or unique values that they provide their demographic with, such as new tools, new strategies, current events that relate to the industry. There's absolutely none of this. Every single piece of content is screaming, this person wants to sell me something. Now, inherently selling your stuff and selling your services, it's not a bad thing, but we're talking about building a long-term brand with social media here. So you just have to follow the rules that come with playing this game, right? And that is a rule. You have to be a man of the people. Now, to give you a little cheat sheet for making this far into the video, here are some popular hook formats for informative short-form content videos that you can use when scripting. So go ahead, take a screenshot, go. Okay. Now, once you use these hooks, here are some frameworks on how your scripts should be structured to keep viewers engaged. Go ahead, take some more screenshots, go ahead, steal it, use it, manipulate it, do whatever you got to do. And now the last thing that I recommend doing here in this section is creating some long form YouTube videos as well. If you're just starting off, then you don't need an entire strategy for YouTube growth, because you should probably focus on just one thing at a time if your resources are limited. Typically, short form content just has much more organic shareability and just organic viral potential as well. So I recommend most clients start there and really get that system running effectively. At the same time, though, you should be making a few long-form videos once in a while, because it will build trust much faster than any short-form video can. Short-form videos are typically less than a minute long, and you just don't have enough time to share your expertise in full detail, right? Explain the nuances that will help the viewers kind of realize, okay, wow, this person really knows what they're talking about. It's not just surface-level information that they're spewing out. Now, whereas if someone visits your YouTube channel after finding you on Instagram or any short-form platform that you're posting on, then now your audience is watching YouTube videos from you that are 10 to 15 minutes long. Some of them can even be 40 minutes or longer, and they'll have a lot more context for what makes you an expert in your field while building familiarity with you as a person. And at the end of the day, business is people to people, right? Plus, you can also use these YouTube videos to answer common questions that you receive in your DMs when messaging the leads, like I showed you earlier, right over here, right over here. So DM nurturing process, YouTube videos related to their pain points, client success, right? Always want to mention some sort of client success, okay? So a few types of YouTube videos that you can make are going to be like FAQs, either that your clients usually ask you, or a lot of objections that you may be getting in the DMs or during sales calls while speaking to your prospects. And a very powerful type of video is going to be client interviews. You can do this on Zoom, or you can take this to the next level, fly out to your client and do this in person. So it's like an in-person interview. And if you have those, then you'll be solid for now, right? And then later on, you can focus on a more like YouTube growth strategy specific to that platform and learning the YouTube culture and all that kind of good stuff. Great. Now you know how to get views. But if I'm doing my math correctly and you're responsible for doing every single little task that I've talked about so far, it will be impossible to grow your business, because we only have 24 hours in a day and one person can only handle so much quality work. I said quality weird there. Quality work. As a business owner, it's your responsibility to work on the highest leverage tasks so that you can make the fastest progress in business growth. Now, one of the most consuming tasks and easiest task to delegate at the same time is going to be video editing and content posting, right? So that is step 5 of the personal brand funnel framework: delegating editing and content posting, right? Surprise, surprise. Now, this is self-explanatory, but I want to briefly talk about how you're going to do this and what mistakes to avoid. So how are you going to do this? Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to find an editor overseas, right? So you find an editor overseas in a country where the US dollar is worth a lot more and the average living wage is significantly lower than the USA's average living wage. I prefer finding talent in South America or Central America because their time zone aligns with the US, and a lot of people in the region actually speak great English, and in my experience as well, they're more in tune with American culture and the editing style that kind of matches our standards here in America and just matches with what we would find like, oh, that's funny, or that's engaging, or that just looks good to us, right? However, if you want, you can find editors in all sorts of countries: India, the Philippines, Eastern Europe, really wherever you want. And the price for these editors It will depend on their skill set and their reliability as well. But usually what you're going to be doing is you'll find some very basic editors at around like $5 an hour. And then the more skilled ones, you will probably have to pay somewhere around like $15 an hour. And if you can consistently give the editors work, then they'll likely be okay with taking a slightly lower hourly rate since they don't need to spend time trying to get new clients. You can also find editors on all sorts of platforms, okay? So this is going to be like Upwork, Fiverr, Facebook groups, X. Really, they're everywhere. And now for the pricing structure of the editors, I recommend a flat rate per project. Figure out like someone who has the same type of budget for the deliverable that you need, whether it's a short form video, a long form video, a thumbnail, whatever it is. Compare a bunch of editors and then choose your favorite ones. Whoever was the most reliable, had the needed the least amount of directions, and kind of match the style that you were going for. And look, in my opinion, I would avoid a monthly salary. And this is unless you are a absolute content machine and you just need someone to keep up with you, right? But for a lot of people who are just beginning, you're going to burn out eventually making content. There's a learning curve. Like, let's just be realistic here, right? Maybe you'll make a crap ton of content 1 week or 1 month, and the next month you're like, dude, I just want to chill a little bit. So if you have a monthly salary, then you're going to have this unnecessary overhead that's kind of stressing you out. Whereas if you have a flat rate per project, you can kind of just go whenever you're feeling like it and whenever you can make the best pieces of content, because we want to put out quality pieces of content here, right? And another thing you can do here is if you pay an editor a little bit of extra money, then they can probably do the content posting for you. You'll probably have to give them the video title or caption, but they can easily plug this into any social media scheduling software like Metricool or whatever else, right? This way, all you have to do is plan content and record content and let your editor handle the rest of it. Now, here are some mistakes to avoid. Do not expect an editor to perfectly match your preferred design elements right away, right? The easiest way to provide an editor directions is to just give them examples of the other videos that they can copy the editing style from. Also, do not stick with someone who is consistently delivering bad work. If you've given them clear feedback and the editor is like still missing the mark after 2 or 3 tries, or they're just consistently late, then it is time to move on. There are just plenty of good editors out there, so there's no point of wasting weeks of just hoping that they get better, right? And a lot of times they're just not going to get better. That's just who they are. Now, we're ready for step 6, which is the final step of the 6-step personal brand funnel framework, which is selling through DMs or calls depending on lead volume, okay? Step 6, right? Okay, so you want to make sure that your sales process makes sense with the number of leads that you are getting. A simple rule to follow is if you have a low amount of leads, then you can probably hop on sales calls more often, right? Which is, I like to do more stuff like an enrollment call if possible. That's if you're like, okay, I'll get to that in a second. But if you have a high number of leads per week, then focus more on closing the DMs to save time. And look, the reason that I have a star here, right, is because if you're someone who wants to prioritize a high profit margin while being efficient with your time, then you need to make sure that your marketing and nurturing is so strong that people can commit to working with you through the DMs and they only hop on calls with you for the enrollment process, right? So it's more of an enrollment call rather than trying to convince them. It's like, just do all the convincing here, do like follow all the nurturing stuff, like give them all the free resources and stuff like that. And then once they're ready to hop on, you can be like, all right, cool, now let's schedule a call. So to revisit this process though, after someone visits your Instagram profile, they will have 2 choices, right? And those 2 choices are become a follower or DM you for the lead magnet, right? And then you DM them if they become a follower and, you qualify them. And like I said, you just nurture them, client success, all this stuff. And there's like, sequences that you can do for this and all of that. Now, eventually they're just going to know like, man, I have to sign on. I have to work with this person. Now, how do you do this whole thing without being salesy and without getting flagged by Instagram spam filters? Well, first of all, do not mass message. So don't, copy and paste the same message to 20 people in a row. Instagram will detect this and then you'll end up just in their hidden messages inbox, which is basically like a spam inbox that nobody really checks. Instead, what you want to do is send a few custom messages at a time. Stay under like 30 to 40 outbound DMs per day. So if you have more followers than this per day, you might want to briefly just go and check out their profile and see if maybe they look like they fit. I guess we're stereotyping here now, right? And then only DM them if they seem to be your target demographic. Second, when you message a new follower, treat it like a normal conversation. If you're helping athletes, you can say something like, hey, thanks for the follow. What sport did you play, right? Now, this does 2 things. It quickly qualifies them. Like, are they a passive follower or are they a potential client? And number 2, it also keeps your brand feeling personal and authentic. So it's not salesy or scripted. You're having a genuine conversation, right? If they say they're just following you for whatever reason, cool, let them engage with the content. But if they say they're looking for more help, now you have permission to continue continue nurturing them and doing the qualification process. And here are a few frameworks, actually, some DM frameworks to help you with this. So first thing we have here is the quick win framework. You want to use this when someone shows interest but isn't sure what they need yet. So it's like, totally get what you're coming from. Here's a quick tip that's helped a bunch of my clients, and insert simple tactical tip that they can try immediately. Try that out. Let me know how it goes. If it clicks, I can show you what it would look like to actually fix the whole process for you. Now, if you say something like this and it actually works and it's actually useful information, then this builds trust fast by giving them real wins before even the pitch, right? So they're like, holy crap, like this guy's actually helping me. This actually worked. Like, so this guy must be legit, right? Boom, $10,000, $15,000, right? Free resources. Now you want to use this when you're not ready to pitch, but want to build trust with valuable content. Something like, hey, not sure if you saw this, I actually made a YouTube video breaking down the exact same thing. So exact same thing that they're asking for, right? So do you want me to send it over? Or, hey, I did a client interview recently where they were struggling with the same exact thing that you mentioned. Could be helpful to hear how they handled it. Do you want me to send you the link? And then follow up with like, hey, did that video help you at all? I'm happy to break it down for your specific situation if you want. Now, next we have the straight shooter framework. Now you want to use this when they've been watching your stuff for a while and they clearly already trust you, right? So you've kind of like talked to them already for a while. Now you want to say something like, based on everything that you told me, I actually think you'd be a great fit for insert offer here. Do you want to discuss what this could look like for you? Next, we have the mini audit framework. Now, you want to use this when someone wants help but doesn't know what their problem is. So you could be like, hey, if you want, I can take a quick look at, whatever that they need help with, their content or their page or whatever, and give you 2 to 3 things to clean it up immediately. Do you want me to take a look at it? And then you drop some insights and you say like, yo, I'm happy to walk you through how I'd help you with this if you want the full breakdown, right? Next thing we have is the ghost follow-up. This is the last one here. And this is just like, you want to use this when someone is showing interest, but then they just disappeared. So you want to say something like, hey, not sure if this fell off your radar or if now is just not a right time. Either way, no worries at all. Just wanted to check in real quick in case you still had questions or you needed anything from me. And that way you're kind of leaving it off at a friendly tone, right? You're kind of being like, yo, you can always just hit me back up whenever you need to. Now, of course, I can't guarantee my prices will be the same, but you can hit me up whenever you need help, right? So you're not like closing it off. You're not being a douchebag really in the DMs, right? Now, let's talk about what happens when your lead volume becomes too much for you to personally manage. If you're getting too many warm leads per week and you're struggling to keep up with DMs, it's time to consider hiring an appointment setter. You can find commission-only setters on Facebook groups, X, Upwork. Just search things up like remote closer or DM setter looking for clients. Most commission-only setters will charge a set percentage commission for any sales that they close, or you can give them a flat rate for any qualified sales calls that they book for you. Depends how you want to structure it. But here's a mistake that a lot of people make, which is they hire setters without giving them any sort of training, and then they wonder why their brand all of a sudden is all pushy and people are not really attracted to the brand anymore. If you're going to hire someone to talk to your leads, you need to protect the brand. So create like a short script book that shows them how to talk in the DMs, include real examples, give them Loom videos where you explain your tone, what not to say, what to say, and how to lead with value, how you would genuinely do it. You also want to set clear guardrails, right? So no hypey claims, no fake urgency nonsense, no pressure tactics, right? High pressure situations like, hey, you got to get on this right now. Like this is like, it's going to save your life, man, blah, 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 right? So also give them an FAQ doc so they can handle any common objections confidently without overselling. And finally, you want to give them a rule, which is like, hey, if you're not 100% sure of what to say, escalate the conversation to me. Do not guess. Always protect the brand, all right? Because if you have a negative reputation, it's going to be really, really difficult to fix that. The goal here is simple. You want to sell efficiently, not aggressively. The best sales process does not feel like sales at all. It feels like a service. And here's the thing too. When you're nurturing them properly with your content, you're creating the right content, you have the right messaging, a lot of the selling will already be done, like I said. And then that's when you go over here and you hop on the sales call, and it's mainly just an enrollment call rather than a sales call. And now when your content is working, your lead magnet is pulling people in your DMs, everything is handled with care, you're going to close clients weekly without burning out or ruining your reputation. So here's a brief recap of how the personal brand funnel works, right? We have step 1 over here, which is position like an expert. Step 2, build a high ticket offer. Step 3, have a lead magnet call to action. Step 4, launch your content and low budget ads immediately. Step 5, delegating, editing, and content posting. Step 6, sell through DMs or calls. And you continue optimizing your content, you continue optimizing your ads, testing different lead magnets, how you position your offer, all of that until you have a business that profits $30,000 a month to $50,000 a month in profit, just like my 3 clients that I shared with you here in this video, okay? Now, you can go ahead, shoot me a message on Instagram at Akash Conver. You'll speak directly with me. There's no VAs, no appointment setters, and if you're a real expert, I'd love to help you with some real marketing. Thanks for watching.